Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Wherever you're watching me from, you're welcome to Elder Living with Deborah. Happy weekend to you all. Happy weekend to you wherever you're watching me from. All right, so this channel is all about health issues, health matters, health talk, health gist, everything that has to do with health. And we also share motivational talks, inspiring talks from time to time. And you could get a little dose of, Christian faith and, lifestyle and relationship. All right. But the channel is mainly on health, everything that just has to do with health generally. And of recent, we've talked about a lot of things, talk about hypertension, talk about cholesterol, talked about, even plastics and quite a lot of things. And this moment we have now, there's a kind of awareness for sickle cell, and sickle cell patients are coming out to say, hey, we are not walking corpses. Like some people refer to sickle cell patients as walking corpses, as if no tomorrow they are going to fall down and die. So there's this awareness everywhere. It's World Sickle Cell Awareness, and people are really coming out to say, hey, don't castigate us, don't look down on us, don't refer to us as walking corpses. And so we have a doctor in the building to help to shed more light on sickle cell itself, shed more light. Is it true that sickle cell patients are walking corpses, as if no, they are going to fall down and die tomorrow? you know, Quite a lot of people are afraid of sickle cell, but even the COVID that is killing people every day, some people are not taking it serious. Some people are not taking it serious. But hey, when they hear of sickle cell, they're like, oh, don't go near her, don't go near him. If you fight him, she will fall down. If you touch her, she will fall down, she will this. But the COVID that is even killing people every day, killing people every now and then, people are not paying rapt attention to it. So is it true that people that are sickle cell can just say, hey, tomorrow just fall down and die? Are they people you shouldn't even move close to, associate with? And a lot of myths about sickle cell patients. And before our doctor comes on screen, our doctor is already around. Dr. Sheung, thank you so much for coming around. While I was growing up, we had this family friend. We were staying in the same compound, the same house. And of course, she had two boys. They were always, from time to time, they were always falling sick. And myself too, I was always falling sick. While I was growing up, I fall sick a lot. So let me add my hey, thank you so much for coming around. BB Physio Food. Thank you for coming around. All right, so you're welcome in the building. Dr. Shehu
Thank
is in the
you.
building.
Thank you. I
Happy
really
weekend.
appreciate your invitation. I really
Thank
appreciate it.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you too. Happy New Month and a happy weekend to you.
Yeah, same to
Happy
you
weekend.
also. Same to you
Happy
also.
weekend also from BB Physio Food. Thank you. Happy weekend to you too. Okay, so today we are talking about sickle cell. There's this awareness everywhere, World Sickle Cell Awareness, and sickle cell still outside. No problem, BB physio. And people are like, hey, they are walking corpses. Some people will even say, don't go near them, don't do this, don't do that. Okay, so the story I was saying was that when I was growing up, there was this, family friend. We stay in the same compound, and the two boys, from time to time, they fall sick. But I also fall sick a lot when I was growing up. So, but it got to a time that we discovered that their own falling sick is it's like it's not an ordinary one. You understand what I'm saying? It's like
Hmm.
their whole is more frequent. It's like they look pale compared to us. And I started hearing sickle cell, sickle cell. So I didn't really know the meaning of. I just knew that, oh, there's a sickness that makes people look like this. They fall sick, they look pale, this and that. And after some years, just a few years after we parted, we relocated, and I'm talking about 97, 99. Then around that year, 2000 or 2001, my mom was just sober one day. Hey, what happened? She said, oh, the younger brother actually died.
Hmm.
That was when I knew that, oh, this sickness is serious. It kills people. You understand? So she said the younger one died, and this is someone that doesn't even fall sick like the elder one. It was the elder one that is always, falling sick. Younger one falls sick, once in a while, and she was like, he has passed on. No, just
Mm.
I don't even think he has gotten to GS3 or GS2 when he just passed on. It was a sad moment. That was when I knew that, oh, there's something called sickle cell. And getting to secondary school, that was when I really knew the meaning of what sickle cell was, the biology class, and the teacher was trying to explain. And of course, I was seeing people around, they would say, hey, that one has sickle cell. Now, oh, so that was when I got to know that. Thank you so much, BB Physio Food. So that was when I really got to know that, okay, yeah, there's something called sickle cell. It's real, it kills people, but there are people that still have it and survive. In fact, the elder one, that family friend I was talking about, the elder one is still alive up to today. He's married, he has a girl, and he's still doing fine. You understand? But people have this way of stigmatizing people that have sickle cell. So what does it mean to have sickle cell? What are the lifestyle changes they could adopt in order to live longer? So that and more our doctor will be talking about this afternoon. So we're going to be starting right away. While others come, they could join in the session. So please feel free to share the stream as you come in. Don't forget to like and thumbs up the stream. Let's create awareness, and let's also share the stream in order for others to come in and also learn too. So you're welcome once again, Dr. Sheun Olanipeku.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's always a pleasure to come to your channel to talk about health, because it's very good that you are trying to create awareness. It's something great, something fantastic, and I really appreciate the fact that one way or the other, I mean, if I'm a part of creating this awareness also. So I will say thank you to everyone watching. Share the video, like the video, and let's get more people aware about sickle cell disease. Very good. Okay. So should I continue?
Yes, you can.
Okay, very good. So there is a stigmatization, as Sister Debbie has already told us, right, of sickle cell. People think that people with sickle cell, they automatically have a death sentence, like it's a matter of time before they die. Actually, sickle cell, yes, it could be to some extent a life-threatening, let me say, condition, but it's not something that is as threatening as COVID. It's not something as threatening as even malaria. Even to turn the table around, even sickle cell people have a very big advantage that they are immune to having malaria. So while you are getting sick of malaria, sickle cell patients are immune to this disease. And it's not something contagious. It's not like, oh, I ate from the same table. Okay, that's my doorbell ringing. Please, can you give me just a second? Okay, I'll be right
No
back.
problem. No
Thank you.
problem. Okay. So BB Physio Food, thank you so much again for coming around. So it's not something, sickle cell is not something you contract by shaking hands with someone, or by just speaking with a person, like Dr. Shin was saying.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not something contagious. It's not something you get from physical contact. It's not something you get. It's something you inherit from your parents. So this is why before you get married, before you choose a partner, it's also very important that you think about your future kids. You pay attention to your genotype, your blood group, and see that you are both compatible for each other, not just physically, not just spiritually, but also biologically. Some people, yes, you might have affection for somebody, but biologically, you both cannot, produce good children. You cannot produce healthy kids. So this is the major way sickle cell is being transmitted. It's been transmitted from a recessive a recessive father and a recessive mother. So if you are AS and your husband or your wife is AS, there is a very big probability that you're going to produce an SS child, a sickle cell child. Sickle cell itself is not dangerous. It only becomes dangerous when you expose when the sickle cell patient exposes himself or herself to some extreme places, like for example, climbing high, climbing mountains, going up, very high heights, dehydration. These are things that could, stimulate this sickle cell crisis, and then it can become dangerous. But of course, sickle cell is treatable. Sickle cell is manageable. It's not a life. It's not like, oh, you were born with sickle cell. Okay, within 10 years you are gone. No, it's not. It's not like that. Even a person with sickle cell has chances of living longer than a person with heart disease. So this is basically the overall of sickle cell. It's transmitted by your parent. It's inherited from your parents, recessive parents, and it's not something. It's not a killer disease, huh? It's not something that will kill. It's something manageable. Yeah, so before I continue, I would like Sister Debbie to make a comment so that I won't just be the only one talking.
Okay. Thanks for coming around. First call design and crafts. Thank you so much for coming around. And BB Physio Food, thank you for coming around. First call design and crafts, but most of them die early, say 50%. Yeah, let
Okay.
me just say that the lifespan of a sickle cell patient, that patient does not even know. It's just like we normal people, we don't even know when we will die. You understand? So there are people that are in their 70s and they have it and they are still alive. Some people are in the 80s, they have it and they are alive, while some people are just 5 years and they pass on, 10 years and they pass on. You understand? So most of them die early, maybe fine, but some of them still live very well long. You understand? Some of them still live long to some extent. You understand? To some extent. And that is why it is necessary, like Dr. Seun said, that this whole thing is transmitted from the parents. Now, children, when you want to have offsprings, they are going to get their gene, they are going to inherit some characteristics from you as the father and the mother. So for every child you have, for every child you want to have, you and your spouse, you are going to contribute some characteristics into that child. They are going to inherit their gene from you. And that's why sometimes you see a child has a small ear, and someone will say, oh, even the father has a small ear, or the child has a small nose. Hey, the mother has a small nose. So the child gets to inherit, that offspring gets to inherit one or two things from their parents, and part of it is even, their genotype. So if a parent, as someone who's about to get married, you've got to check your genotype. What is my genotype? What is the genotype of the other person? You understand? It is very necessary, because there are some genotypes that when they come together, they are going to end up having, as SS, sickle cell child, like Dr. Seun said. Okay, someone is saying, hello, Dr. Seun, nice to have you here. That is from
Thank
First
you.
Call and
Thank
Grabs.
you. Thank you. Thank
And
you.
Everyday
Thank you.
Matters is saying, hello, host and everyone. Thank you for coming in the building. Everyday Matters. So Dr. Seun, what really happens? What really happens? How does sickle cell comes into play? Because okay, let me that's just the question.
Okay, okay. I will try to answer as briefly as possible. So I don't want to make it too hard for you guys to understand, because I know not everyone here maybe medical doctors or nurses, or people with medical backgrounds. So a person with sickle cell disease can live as long as you who have a normal, blood type. The only time where it begins to manifest is when these patients expose themselves into difficult, strenuous activities. Because of sickle cell diseases, it's this sickle cell. You have to understand that this sickled hemoglobin is very sensitive to dehydration. So for example, if I have a normal blood group of AA, right? If I can withstand dehydration for a longer period of time, a person with sickle cell is gonna, you're going to start having, you're going to start having this, manifestation of sickle cell. You understand? And the manifestations include pains. This is very common in kids. Once you see that a child is complaining of pains in their extremities, their lower and their upper extremities, then you begin to suspect, okay, something is wrong with this kid. The danger of sickle cell is that these sickled cells, they could cause occlusions. They could pile up in the capillaries, and they could block blood flow to certain organs. They could block blood flow to the eye. That could cause blindness. It could cause blood flow to the brain. If it's a kid, it can cause some abnormalities in growth, or it could even become even more fatal. If we talk about the bones, if these occlusions block blood flows to the bones, it could cause pains in the bones also. So it all depends on where this occlusion occurs. You understand? And this occlusion happens when this patient exposes themselves to extreme conditions, dehydration, extreme activities, things that will require more oxygen. You understand?
Exactly.
Things that will require
Exactly.
more oxygen.
Exactly.
And the person is already having a sickle cell, and this sickle cell cannot carry enough oxygen. They cannot transport
Exactly.
enough oxygen, and because of this, we begin to see different
Exactly.
manifestations, like
Exactly.
what I've said already.
Exactly. Okay. Thank you for coming in. Early Years Matters. Thank you. Happy weekend to you. Thank you for coming in. Parenting on the go. Parenting on the go all the way from Nigeria. Thank you so much for coming in. Now, I would like to say that sickle cell is a blood disorder. Now, when we say blood, the blood is composed of white blood cells, red blood cells, the blood plasma, the blood platelets. Now, when there's a disorder with the red blood cell, then that is sickle cell. Now, we are all familiar with the fact that every part of our body needs oxygen at every point in time. Your eyes, your nose, your hands, your ears needs oxygen at every point in time. And oxygen cannot travel around the body without blood. So the oxygen has to bind to your hemoglobin in order for it to hemoglobin in the blood, in order for oxygen to be well circulated around the body. Now, but in the case of sickle cell, now the blood is mostly composed of the red blood cells. It has a greater percentage compared to the white blood cell, the platelet, and the liquid portion of the blood, which is called the blood plasma. Now, when there's now a disorder with the red blood cell, don't forget that your oxygen has to bind to your red blood cell, your hemoglobin, your red blood cell. Now, when there's now a disorder in your red blood cell, it means that the quantity of oxygen that will be distributed around the body might not be sufficient. Now, there's this simple way I use to explain sickle cell. When the red blood cell of a person, instead of your red blood cell to be kind of a full moon, when your red blood cell is now half moon, I don't even understand what I'm saying. Instead of having something round, your red blood cells are, just like circular shape like that. If it is now kind of halved, you understand? So you can imagine something that's supposed to be round is now half. Is it going to carry the same oxygen as something that is round? So a structure that is round, that is healthy, can carry sufficient oxygen, but a structure that is now half, it is not as that healthy again. So it is not going to carry sufficient oxygen, and that is why, like Dr. Shehu said, people with sickle cell are not supposed to engage in activities that requires excess oxygen, so much oxygen, you understand, because they don't have, let me just say, they don't have sufficient oxygen in circulation. So when you don't have sufficient oxygen in circulation, you don't engage in activities that will make you to, use up the excess, or the insufficient one you have. You don't engage in activities that will make you to expend everything, because when you expend everything, crisis comes in. You understand what I'm saying? So I thank you for coming around, Marvelous TV. Thank you so much for coming around. For everyone, we have 9 amazing people in the building now. Thank you for sharing me out. Thank you so much for coming around. So the red blood cells, they are the ones that have the issues. They have become sick. They are not as healthy as they should be again. And with that, oxygen also, is not, could not be well distributed at every point in time around the body. So you can go ahead, Dr. Shiv.
Yeah, so Sister Debbie had just done justice to the pathophysiology, right, of sickle cell. Yeah, exactly. That is it. You can imagine that you have one a complete, let me say, phone. Let's say your iPhone, and all of a sudden the screen of your iPhone got broken. That phone is not more capable to do it. Maybe it could receive phone calls, maybe it could make some voice notes, but it
Exactly,
could not do
exactly.
a lot of
Not
things.
all
That is
one.
exactly the same thing
Exactly.
with your red blood cells. Once you are anemic, once you are sick, once you have the sickle cell, once you know somebody has the sickle, maybe not you, but maybe somebody So this is exactly, and whatever you do that stimulates the requirement for oxygen. Now these hemoglobins cannot carry enough oxygen, and you are now stressing them, and it becomes complicated for the body, and the body cannot control this demand for oxygen. And one other thing again about sickle cell is that these hemoglobins, they die earlier because of their abnormal shape. They get destroyed earlier by the body because of their abnormal shape, and this is why you can observe jaundice in patients with sickle cell also. People with sickle cell, they're very susceptible to sicknesses. That is just because of most of the time their spleens also get destroyed, and the spleen is a very, 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 very important organ in our immune system. And once it is gone, you become more susceptible to meningitis, to pneumonia, to other viral infections. This is how it happens. The liver gets enlarged. Because of the liver. The major function of the liver is to break down. Is to convert this bilirubin that has been released from a blood cell. It's to convert it and excrete it. Now the liver has to overwork because you are having too much bilirubin released because of too much red blood cells are dying, you know, and then the liver gets, you could even have liver failure at a particular period of time. So sickle cell, yes, it could be dangerous. Yes, it could sound scary. Yes, but it can be completely managed. Thank God medicine is
Exactly.
moving, it's moving ahead, it's moving fast. So we can easily diagnose this even right from birth. We can easily diagnose this. We diagnose sickle cell even right from the period of time the baby is still in the womb. Right? We can use the
Yes.
amniotic fluid to
Yeah.
check and know to check the blood type of the baby.
Every time.
So this is basically sickle cell for you. Your body has a normal hemoglobin lives for 120 days, and it carries oxygen for 120 days. But a sickle cell hemoglobin lives only for about 20 days. You can imagine, right? You can imagine the amount of and
The
your blood
gap.
cells,
The gap.
your bone marrow cannot keep up to the production of blood because of the red blood cells are dying very fast. The bone marrow cannot produce enough. You know, they cannot replace because the function of the bone marrow is to produce blood for us, reticulocytes, blood for us. And once we keep destroying these ones we have, because of our lifestyle, because of the fact that we are living. These patients are having they are going through strenuous activities all the time. It becomes problematic for the body.
All right.
So
So are there do's
that is
and
basically.
don'ts? Are there do's and don'ts for sickle cell patients?
Yes, yes. There are do's and there are don'ts. A sickle cell patient can live a normal life. They can live the normal life they are living. But I don't advise them to go into super strenuous activities. They could do sport, but don't. It's just like you are diabetic. When a person is diabetic, also they have some certain amount of exercises they can do. Also, the same thing goes to our sickle cell patients also. Don't do things that will require you to be dehydrated, like running excess miles. Don't do things that would require your body to consume more oxygen, like climbing, hiking, doing all these other strenuous activities. Don't do this. And you would live as long as anybody would live.
Okay, so thanks for coming in, Adesua Bello. Happy weekend to you. My family is doing fine. We are doing fine. Thank you so much, Adesua Bello. So BB Physio Food said, since it can be diagnosed in the womb, can anything be done? Actually, some people end up just they just finish it there. They don't even allow that, that zygote to grow. They don't even allow it to get to the stage of a fetus. Once the woman is pregnant, they check and they see that, oh, this child is likely to be SS. They just get rid of it. That is actually what some people do. BB Physio, I don't know if Dr. Shewam, but I don't know. Let's not bring Christian faith into this. Because if we are to bring Christian faith into this, then one wouldn't advise you to,
Yeah,
get rid
yeah,
of a child. But that is what most people do. Once they get pregnant, maybe the both partners are AS, they quickly go and check for the baby, and once they see that this developing zygote is coming this direction, they just get rid of it. I think I've answered the question of BB Physio Foods.
yeah.
Okay. Can they eat all kinds of food too? No, first call designer, because that is what we are saying. Okay, let me allow Dr. Sheu to
Okay.
continue
Okay.
anyway.
So if we talk about managing sickle cell, right? Let's assume you gave birth to a baby, and this baby was diagnosed with SS, right? This baby has sickle cell. Sickle cell don't it would Fortunately, God is a very supernatural being. He had planned everything in a way that these babies will thrive. They will survive. They will survive because we have something called embryonic hemoglobin. So for the first about 7 6 months, this hemoglobin that God has given them, this normal hemoglobin God has given them, begins to do the job. So even if you give birth to a baby with sickle cell, for the first few up to 6 months, nothing will happen. You wouldn't even the baby will not manifest anything because the baby is not doing anything strenuous, right? The baby is not going through any unnecessary activities. But later on in life, thank God, medicine is improving. Medicine is going forward, is moving ahead. We can have blood transfusion for such people. We can replace those sickled hemoglobins for normal hemoglobins. We can give them folic acids, to help them maintain the health of their hemoglobin. So in terms of food, right? Someone mentioned about food, right? I wouldn't really restrict them eating because I don't see your food causing excess demand for your oxygen. Eat what you are eating, but make sure you eat healthy. That's the most important thing. Don't do extra. You know, even yeah, don't do extra. I don't want to go too much into details into that. Right? That is basically it. That is basically it. So this person is saying the best way to avoid this is to check your blood group before having children. Yes, exactly. That is it.
Exactly, exactly. That was what I said at the beginning. It is necessary that you want to get married. Like Justice Shion said, just put love aside. Just put that love aside, put
Yeah,
the money aside, put the likeness aside, and check your genotype. That is the
that's it.
very first thing before you start saying, okay, let's start sharing our invitation card. Before you
That's
start
it.
sharing your invitation card, you've
That's
got
it.
to check your. A lot of people actually get into this, like, for example, our ancestors, they didn't know, you understand, so they don't check their blood group, that they don't check their genotype that time. They just see themselves and they get married. But the world has really evolved, so we shouldn't make that mistake now. Check your genotype before you get married. I actually know a couple that they actually knew their genotype all right, but they said no, they want to go ahead with the marriage. And I think they have 4 kids, and none of them is SS. When I say
Wow.
none of them, none
Wow.
of the four,
That,
anytime they want to, go get into conception, they pray and pray and pray, and I think it worked for them.
that's it.
It actually works for them. So, but it doesn't mean that it worked for these people, it may work for another person. So the best thing is to check your genotype. And if you have SS, watching this live stream, you have SS, fine. It is not the end of the road. The best thing is, if you are not married, before you get married, try as much as possible to check your genotype, check the genotype of the person you want to get married to, and be sure that that person is AA. Now, no compromise. There's no compromise of, hey, he's SAS but I love him. He's AC but I love him. We have AC too. So there's no compromise of, I love him, he has money, but he's AS. We will pray. He's AC. We will pray. Oh, it's better you pray that that genotype should change before you get married. Then you getting into the marriage and you are saying, we will pray. You understand what I'm so we shouldn't just spiritualize things that we will pray. No, make sure that that person has to be AA. That's just it. That's just the standard. There's no bending at all. SS can only get married to AA, so that you can give birth to AA, AS, and you don't end up giving birth to SS. So someone is saying, meaning it cannot be prevented. Yeah, if the both of you are carriers, there's no way you can prevent it, since the both of you are carriers. And
Only through
someone is
prayer.
saying, yes, like to prayer.
Yes.
And God so good, God could answer your prayer and your children escape. Okay. So someone is saying SS is not easy to deal with. Yes, I know that. And someone is saying, thanks, dog. Okay, let me quickly just go through the chat section. There is a rare case. I believe prevention is better than cure. Yes. Okay. Yes, prevention is better than cure. I'm a witness to one, two in their kids are fine. AS and AA, no SS at all. Yeah, that's just what I'm saying. Some people still take the risk and they say, we will pray. You understand? But it's better you pray and you are very sure, very, very sure before you embark on such a journey, because even the child, you will pity the child. You understand? You yourself will pity the child. You'll be like, oh, why did I do this to this child? This is something I could have prevented by just letting this man go or letting this woman go. So that's just it. If you are SS, get married to AA and move on with your life. It's not a death sentence. It's not a death sentence. Okay, is it better we prevent it than taking it? Is better we prevent it. That's just it. It's better you prevent it than taking the risk. And the best way to prevent it is check your genotype, check your spouse genotype before you get married. AA can get married to any of the genotypes, whether AA, AS, SS, AC, SC, any of the genotypes. AA can get married to them, but AS too has to choose. You understand? AS cannot marry SS too. They may, they have the chances of giving birth to a carrier too. AS cannot marry to SC. They could have AC, they could have AC, they could have AS. So SS2 cannot marry SC or all these things. So the best thing is AA goes for all genotypes. So if you have SS, just know that you are praying in search of someone that has AA. I have a, I if you are AS too, just keep praying for AA. Just keep praying for AA. You can't get married to
And
SS or AS too. I have a friend that is SS. She died a lot of time once the crisis. Okay, I think I didn't get that message. Well, yeah, I've got people around that are SS. Yes, like I said, I grew up in the same building with a woman that the two kids were SS. Her husband they parted. The two of them were SS, and I have a friend then back in school. I know Dr. Shane, we know her. Her elder sister too was SS, and I know what it means to be a carrier. I know what it means, but God is faithful. God is watching over them. He's watching over his children. He's watching over every one of us. Okay. So Dr. Shane, I hand over to you.
okay. So that is it. Prevention is mostly better than cure. It's better you prevent it than going to cure it. Yes, it's good to pray. Prayer, even that is the foundation of life. Praying, but you don't have to risk someone's health condition because of you want to pray. Yes, affection sometimes could be there, could be powerful, but sometimes we just need to be logical human beings. The crisis of sickle cell could be unbearable. It could be life threatening. Some people die from the complication. Most of these people die from the complication of sickle cell. As I said, these people are very prone to having lots of infections. Pneumonia, meningitis, and every other diseases. So when you look at the risk you are taking in producing SS children, you begin to understand that wow, it's better to just prevent than taking the full risk out of it all. That is it exactly. So there is management for sickle cell. Most of the cases, people go for blood transfusion to help normalize, to help stabilize the production, the normal hemoglobin in the body. The problem with sickle cell hemoglobin is just that your normal hemoglobin can squeeze through your blood vessels. They are concave in shape, they can easily swim through your blood vessels, through your capillaries, but these sickle cells, they cannot do that. They form occlusions, on the capillaries, and it prevents blood from getting to the organ. Now, when blood is not getting to the organ, automatically oxygen is not getting to the organ, and it can cause organ failure. In some cases, so sickle cell could be dangerous when the crisis happens, but it is completely manageable. Don't do strenuous things. Don't do things that will make your body require excess oxygen. Don't do things that will make your body require excess water. Avoid dehydration. Avoid dehydration. I think nowadays in most hospitals we have emergencies. Even sickle cell patients are now also part of emergency medicine now. So most hospitals are very good at. So once you see someone having a crisis, don't waste time. Call the doctor, call the ambulance, call the emergency, let them start doing something. Don't wait for it to go by itself. It wouldn't go by itself. Okay, that is
Okay,
it.
thank you for coming around. I saw someone here. Asare Kwabena. I just hope I'm pronouncing that right. Asare Kwabena. Thank you so much. There's actually a sensitive question here. There's a sensitive question from BB Physio. I know of a man who married two wives and the both wives gave birth to a sickle cell child. Does it mean all does it mean all of them are carriers? Does it mean all of them are carriers? So if a man married two wives, the first wife gave birth to sickle cell, the second child gave birth to sickle cell, automatically the both of them are carriers. You understand? So once you have that letter S in your genotype, that is just it. So the best thing is just to have it as AA. Once you have S, so if the man is AS and he marries the first wife, she is AS. Oh, they could give birth to AA, they could give birth to AS, and they could give birth to SS. So unfortunately, maybe they gave birth to SS. Now the man is AA, the second wife again unfortunately happens to be AS. They could give birth to AA. There's a way we cross it. Just cross it. A goes together. A and S goes together. And then S and S. So they could also give birth to SS. It's quite unfortunate that the man and his wives were all carriers. Maybe it was AS and the two wives were also AS. There's a more sensitive question here from First Call Design and Craft. There's a more sensitive question here. She said, Doctor, is it possible for AA and AS to give birth to SS? Then she said that that is the case they are dealing with in the family, that someone has children, the first three kids are okay, but the fifth and the fourth, only the fifth is alive, but went through a lot of crisis while growing up. There's no way in this world that AA and AS can give birth to SS. It's not
It means
possible.
AS. There is.
You
It means
understand?
someone is deceiving the other over there. That is it. And that is the black
Hey,
joke. Someone is hiding something. It's that we have AS and AS there. It's not possible for AA and AS to produce SS children. It's not
it's not
possible.
possible, except in the spiritual realm. Maybe in the spiritual realm, because
Maybe.
it's just AA and AS. When you cross AA, it's just that I don't have a board here. I will have just crossed it. It just went, okay, first call design and craft. Just multiply AA by AS. It will give you AA, it will give you AS. That is what it can give you. AA, AS. There's no
AS.
way SS can come into the equation. So AA and AS can never ever, never ever give birth to
It's
SS.
not.
It's only AA. So one of them must be covering up something. That's just the basis of this. One of
That's it.
them must be hiding something. One of them must be hiding something. First call, that one is risky. Oh, and need to be checked. Yes, one of them is hiding something. Sometimes people, maybe they just want to get married, and they go and connive with doctor. They will tell I'm so sorry to say that. They will go and connive and say, please just give me the result and say that I am AS. You understand? And the man won't know. He will think she's AS. And yeah, that's why in my church, when you want to get married, they recommend the hospital where you will go. They will tell you, go to this particular place. Because it's funny, some people do it. They know that they are SS, but they will go and connive with a medical practitioner and they will bring the result. They will tell you they are AS. And who are you to doubt it when you see the signature of a medical practitioner? So something must be happening somewhere. First client designer. Okay, I now know Asare Kwaben. I now know who she is now. Thank you so much for calling. This is the woman that is always designing my hair for me. Thank you. Thank you for always designing my hair for me. That's my hairdresser in the building. Thank you. Happy weekend to you and to your family. They must be both carriers. Maybe someone is really hiding something. That's just it. Someone must be hiding something.
That's just. That's it.
Mostly in a spiritual realm. Yes, so that's just it. I understand the crossing O's. We are taught in biology. Okay, okay, all right. All right. Some people might be here and they may be commercial students or art students, you understand. Maybe they don't really understand. Yes, oh, same in my church. You go to the church hospital. That's just it, because people can manipulate anything. You know, I watch this series, on television. The woman knew quite all right that she can't give birth. She knew quite all right that she can't give birth. But each time the man is saying, what is happening, what is happening, she will say, okay, let's go to the hospital. Before they get to that hospital, she will have gone behind to meet with the doctor, and she would have told the doctor, please, when you check me, just present a result that I am fine. So anytime they go there, the doctor will just present the result that she's fine, and before you know it, she will tell the husband, can you excuse me, this and that. She will go and settle the doctor with money. So people are doing it nowadays, and that is why churches, some churches will specify, they will specify that this is the hospital you have to go for your checkup, and which is very good. Okay, we have Super Boss Cake in the building. Thank you for coming around. Happy weekend to you, Super Boss Cake. You're so, so welcome. You're welcome. We are talking about sickle cell today. So Dr. Ashewu have said a lot of things. Don't engage in something that will, expend so much of your energy, and you become worn out and tired, because you have to really take good care of yourself and eat healthy. Someone was saying the other time, adhere foods. The basics of eating is general, whether you someone has sickle cell or not. It is paramount, it is important that you eat healthy. That's just it. So just eat healthy. All right, I hand over to you, Dr. Shehu.
There is no much to say, apart from just for those people who are just joining in and don't really know what we are talking about. We are talking about sickle cell. We are creating awareness for sickle cell. Basically, right? In life, this word is very mysterious. It's possible for an patient and an AS person to not have SS children. It's very possible. The percentage, the probability that you're going to have SS children with an AS partner is only 25%. It's possible that your genes are only crossing with the aging of the aging genotype of your partner, and that will be a fantastic case. But if your genotype follows the biological sequence, there are chances to have that SS. And the most scary thing about it is the crisis, the sickle cell crisis. Be it could be light, and it could be very severe. So this is something you should pay attention to. Okay. When you see someone having the crisis, when you see someone is manifesting this crisis, don't hesitate. Call for help. You're not a medical practitioner. You don't know the first aid to it. You don't have fluids, intravenous fluids to give to the patient. Don't hesitate. Okay. Don't manipulate your medical tests. You're only doing yourself harm. Nobody else but yourself. If medicine proves that you're not compatible with a person, don't force it. It's not necessary. That's not the only man. That's not the only woman in the world. You don't know what is waiting for you in the future. So don't risk it. Don't risk it. Take care of yourself, and think twice before you get into your partners. Do your tests. Once a person is having crisis, please contact the doctor as soon as possible. I know in Africa we have problems with healthcare, but don't hesitate to get professional medical healthcare. Don't give them herbs and say, "Oh, this concoction is going to help to take care of the old stuff." No, don't do that. Call for help if you need one. That is going to be my own advice to you. And if you know anybody with SS, don't even risk marrying a patient with AS. Don't risk it, because your probability of getting an SS child is very high. Even pregnancy for SS women, it's also something very serious. Pregnancy, because of embolism, people with SS are at a very high risk of having, pulmonary embolism, and this is a very life-threatening condition also. So there is a lot of complications to being an SS carrier, an SS person. Lots of complications. Your life changes, but for the good. That is all I'm going to say.
So basically, thank you so much. So basically, drink plenty of fluid so that you don't get dehydrated. You should
Yes.
always take plenty of fluid, so that to be dehydrated means you have lost, enough water to keep running in your body. So drink plenty of fluid from time to time. Don't get dehydrated. Drink water, make water your friend. Wear warm clothing to stop you from getting cold. Yes, don't get cold always. Always keep yourself warm. Avoid sudden temperature changes like swimming in cold water. You understand? So just keep yourself as warm as possible. Keep yourself as hydrated as possible. You could prepare a lot of smoothies. Summer is here. Prepare smoothies and make sure that you have enough water in your body circulating. And when you start feeling those painful symptoms, the next thing is to get in touch with your doctor. And just like Dr. Sheun said, to try as much as possible to avoid strenuous activities. That is one of the ways, those are the ways to manage sickle cell. Avoid strenuous activities, keep hydrated, keep your temperature as warm as possible. Keep your temperature as warm as possible. Hey, thank you for coming around, Chinwe Uzoma. Thank you for coming around. Thank you for coming around. It's better for SS people not to get. No, 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 no. BB physio food, not at all. That is what I said at the beginning. They are fellow human beings just like us. They are fellow human beings just like us. They are free to get married and give birth to children, provided they get married to AA. That is just it. Free to get married. Free. I am thinking of bringing someone to this show. She is 32 years old. She's SS. She graduated. She has even started her masters. You understand? And she will tell you that I'm a warrior. I'm an SS warrior. So I'm thinking of getting in touch with her and bringing her to this show. Since it's a personal story, I've read it on Twitter. It's a personal story. She will be able to explain better that, see, I'm not a walking corpse. I'm not a walking corpse. One day I'm going to get married. I'm going to have my kids. I already said it at the beginning. I know of people that have SS and they are married. They have kids. I know of a male, he has family. I know of females, they are married. So the most important thing is just to marry somebody that is AA. Marry somebody that is AA and take good care of yourself. You understand? Don't, everything we've talked about, everything we talked, just put it in place. Thank you for coming around, Chiwe Uzoma. Happy weekend to you, Mama. Happy weekend to you and to your family. Happy weekend. So someone is asking, I saw a question, what is the life expectancy? Something like that. It was Everyday Matters. Okay. What is the life expectancy of an SS person? I'll leave Dr. Shim to handle it, but like I said at the beginning, anyone can die at any time. That is just it. Whether you are SS or you are AA or you are AN, even if you are AA and you don't eat healthy, the person's chances of dying is increasing. So being
That's
SS
it.
does not mean that this person is SS. She's going to die before the person that is AA, or this person is SS is going to die tomorrow. You understand? So for me, the life expectancy has to do with how much you take care of yourself, how much you put things into place by keeping to what your doctor tells you from time to time, eating as healthy as possible, not engaging in so much strenuous exercises. Make sure you drink a lot of fluid. Make sure you don't expose yourself to cold at all times, and don't pass your boundary. Oh, my mates are jumping, they are doing this, I must do this too. No, you understand your peculiarity and you try as much as possible to be yourself. If people are doing something, you know that it requires so much of oxygen, energy, you won't be able to do it. Just keep to yourself. And so I'll leave Dr. Sheo anyway. Let's hear from Dr. Sheo. What is
Okay,
the life
so life
expectancy?
expectancy is more or less the same as yours. Of course, these patients are prone, as I already said, right? Most of them have damaged spleens, and because of these, they are prone to having diseases like pneumonia. What kills a sickle cell patient is not the sickle cell disease itself; it's the complications that comes with it. This is pneumonia. This is meningitis. Meningitis is a very dangerous disease, also. So this is what. So it depends on what stage in life these complications come up. You know, if the person lives a good life, as Sister Debbie has said, lives a quality life, eats well, you don't expose yourself unnecessarily to adverse conditions, you can live as long as anybody on earth. You know, as long as you don't, it's as if you know that there is death waiting for you in front and you are rushing towards it. So that is exactly how it is. Even if you might be AA, but that doesn't guarantee that you're going to live 100 years. That is it. You know, you could have any disease can come along your way. It depends on how you are living. That is it. So life expectancy is as simple as it depends on when these complications happen in their lifetime, and depends on the quality of life of these patients. What do they do? Do they expose themselves to unnecessary stress? You know, psychological, emotional, or even physical stress. You know, this is exactly what affects, what tells more on their life expectancy, the quality of their life, and how long they will live. You are not
Ex-
guaranteed to live long. I am not guaranteed to live long.
exactly,
If I
exactly,
started to have donuts every day, you know, I'm cutting my life short, and that is the reality.
exactly. Exactly. So Chinwe Uzoma said, "It is when it is not well understood that people die easily, but if appropriate care is taken, they live long, and that's just it. If appropriate care is taken, you eat healthy, you maintain a healthy life, you don't do beyond yourself, you live long. And even when people have pains, maybe little children, just try to distract yourself from the pain. Maybe during crisis, read books, read stories, watch programs, or maybe anytime you are just down, like, oh, why am I not like other people? Why don't I have the strength like other people? Don't just look down on yourself. Distract yourself from the pain and the depression. Read books, watch a film, play your favorite game, go out, take a walk, take a stroll, and make yourself happy. And make yourself happy, okay? So, do we have any other question before we call it a day? Any other question? Super Cake said is going to be having a premiere soon. I'm sure Everyday Matters is also going to be having a premiere soon. So, any question before we call it a day? Lack of medical knowledge is a major problem. I have met one with SS that has got children that none of the kids are SS. You just hear that. So check your genotype before you get married. Take care of yourself. Take care of your kids. Yeah, take care of your kids. Thank you so much for the contribution, Chinwe Uzoma. Thank you so much for the So any other question? Dr. Shale, thank you so much for coming around. I appreciate you. Bye.
Yeah,
Oh, yes, bye. Early years matters. But
it's a
it is
pleasure.
possible that it can be outgrown. Okay, is it possible that it can be outgrown by age? God
No,
bless you.
no. It's a lifetime. It's a lifetime condition, right?
That's just it.
Your blood type doesn't change as you grow older, right? If it was
Exactly.
so, I don't know how we would be living.
Exactly. It's something that has to do with the blood. So it's not something that you outgrow. It has to do with the blood. It's something that was inherited. So that's just it. Just like when you say somebody has a small nose and you say, tomorrow the nose is now big. When you inherit a small nose, you inherit a small nose. When you inherit a small ear or a big ear, you inherit a big ear. So
That's it.
it's not something that can change. It's only something that you manage as you grow older.
That's
Thank
it.
you, Mama Chinwe Uzoma. Thank you. Thank you, Elias Matters. Thank you, BB Physio Food. Thank you, everyone, for staying in the chat. Parenting on the go. Adesua. Thank you, First Call Design and Crafts. Asare, thank you for coming around. Marvelous TV, every one of you. Every one of you, thank you for coming around. Dr. Sheon, thank you so much for honoring the invitation. Thank you
Pleasure.
for honoring the invitation.
Pleasure.
So, is there any other thing you want to say before we call it a wrap?
Nothing much. We have done. I think we've done proper justice to the topic, and it's just proper education, and health is wealth. That is all I will say.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So if you are watching this repeat broadcast, please don't hesitate to like, leave your comments behind, share with people around you, share with friends, share with family. And if you are here to subscribe to my channel, kindly subscribe and turn on the notification bell. And if you also like to support this channel financially, you could also check that join button right in front of my channel. Thank you so much for coming around. I wish you all a wonderful weekend.
Yeah.
Yes, okay. Yes, the question
Yeah.
is coming because many of the essence die at early age, but when they have crossed certain age, they are likely to continue living. Okay, I think when the more you grow, the more you get used to a healthy lifestyle. So the more you know that, hey, I'm not supposed to do this, I'm not supposed to do that. So I think that is what might be responsible for that. It's not as if it is their system that is
Adaptation.
changing or their body is changing. No, they are the ones that they are beginning to know the rules and they are getting used to the rules and regulation and they are working on it. I think that is what is applicable. Chinwe Uzoma. Thank you for coming around. Favor Olamide, I'm ending the stream already. Thank you for coming around, everyone. I'm ending the stream. Favor Olamide, it's nice having you around. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. I wish you a happy weekend. I wish you a happy weekend. Yeah, I wish you all a thank you to host and doctor. Thank you. All my questions were for you. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for the questions. Thank you for the contribution. Happy weekend and bye bye. Bye bye.